Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial, I will go through all these tips in order to show you how to model a house, and this tutorial was requested by one of my subscribers on my YouTube channel. So let's get started. Hit A key to select everything, then X to delete, so Shift A. Let's just, I'm gonna be using the plane like this. Let's add the plane. So just zoom in. Hit the top key to switch to edit mode like this. Just zoom in. So let's begin with modeling the walls of the house like this. Just zoom in a little bit, then I'm gonna be scaling it up to x-axis. So hit S, then X at the same time. So let's just scale it like this. With this amount of dimensions, also we need to just extrude in to create the basic shape of the house. Hit A, then extrude along the Z axis, just drag it a bit up. So let's see what we have here. I think I should make it much more big. So just scale it along the y-axis, hit S and the y-axis. Control Z to undo because you have to select all, then S, then scale it along the y-axis, then drag in just a tiny bit because the house is much more wide, I think. And sometimes you should take the real proportions in order to make it like realistic house. Don't waste time with some adjusting like this. So I'm gonna be just scaling it also along the x-axis, just drag it a little bit in order to make a wide house, so larger than sometimes you can use the reference image, or as used in AutoCAD software, or you can use whatever you want as reference image. Then I recommend using some objects or some things next to walls, like a human body or like a human, in order to compare between the size of the house and the size of the human and the other objects in order to make it better. Also, we need, in this case, switch to face selection mode. Just select the upper face. Hit X to delete that face because we don't need that face as shown here. We have created the walls, the 4 walls for the house, and this is just as a beginning of modeling. So let me show you how to add the, I think, window or something like that. So let's just zoom in and bring it like this, orbit around, take a look in order to make sure that we have the main parts. So let's move on, just much more quicker. Click on the edge selection mode, select these edges, upper edges of this shape. Holding down Alt, then click on the left mouse button in order to select these edges. Just I think I should bring it up just a little bit to make something very accurate for our real life. So let's use the knife tool. We need to hit 1 on the numpad for the front view in order to not to get so confused. Also, we need to use a knife tool, hit key on the keyboard, For example, let's make it just a tiny bit like this. When drag it until you get the straight line like this to cut. Also, we need to do it for the window like this, cutting, draw this wall. And also, I think it is much more bigger, so Ctrl Z to undo. Also, we need to make it, I think this will be much more adequate. So let's hit enter. And we have got this shape like this. It's a square, so let's delete the faces, switch to selection to face selection mode, then select this face for the location where you want to create the window. So hit X to delete faces like this. I think it's not bad. So let's add some modeling parts. Let's just select these edges like this, hold down Alt. Make sure that you have switched to edge selection mode. Also hold down Shift and Alt in order to select all these edges for the window. Let's extrude it out. Should be come out just a tiny bit for the window to create the shutter and some basic parts of the window. So let's extrude it along the y-axis just a tiny bit like this. I think will be so good because later I will add some other detailing for the wall using some modifiers like array modifier. And doesn't really matter that we have some angles like this. We have created angle this on this wall. Doesn't really matter, so we need just to make a better and good topology for that. As you can see here, for the window, I think I should bring it a little bit going back along the x-axis, just like this. It should be fine. All we need now just to create and add in some grid grills and mountains for the window. So let's continue modeling the window as shown here. As you can see here, we have extruded the main parts, that square, extruded it out just along the y-axis like this, and insetting for these parts. Also, as you can see here, we have inset all these parts like this at the center of the window, as shown here, the edges of the window, and have some parts like this. All these squares are shown here. Let's switch to face selection mode. All squares shown here are for creating the glass on this window. So let's continue modeling some important parts like this. Also hold down the Alt key and Shift. Select all these edges like this, edge loops. We need to insert I to insert. Let's try to bevel because insert is 4 faces. Control Z to undo, then Control B to bevel. Just drag it slightly to create this detailing for the window as shown here. So let's extrude some parts. Switch to face selection mode, then extrude some parts. Hold down shift. So try to select all these parts, all over this window. Make sure that you have selected all the parts. I think let's try extruding again. Try inserting again. Just to make it just like this. Control Z. Then try to extrude it. Just think a little bit. Let's extrude it along the y-axis. I think this will be fine. As you can see. Or we have another method to model and create these parts for the window by modeling them individually one by one, then try to duplicate them and snap them to the glass of the window over there in order to make this distribution of these pieces for the window. So let's move on to model some parts like grids. I think grids are done now. For what we have here, grills and matins. Matins also I think are modeled. We don't need to model much more, so let's Control R. Add the topology over there, so let's drag it a tiny bit close to this edge in order to make it so good. Control R also. Later I will add more topology for that. Just let's continue with the modeling the window. Now we want to model the shutter of the window. So let's try to model it and give you some basics. Firstly, I need to move this house to a new collection as shown here. So let's rename it house window. Just it's in the first collection, so try to tap to object mode as shown here. So let's create a new collection. I've created the second collection. Just hover your mouse cursor over the outliner. Then we have this option of new collection. Click to create this option. In order to just try to model the shutter from the second collection, we just can hide this. On the first collection, it's hidden. Also, we need to add Shift A to add plane. In the second collection, let's call it shutter window. Hit enter. Just we need to create a basic shape for the shutter and add in some pieces. So let's select everything, then go. Hit one numpad for one on numpad 1, numpad 7 for front view, for the top view. Also, let's scale it along the x-axis, I think. Just like this. Switch to face selection mode like this, then hit I key to insert. I think this will be fine. Just like this. Let's delete the face. Hit X to delete the face. Hit numpad 7 for the top view. Also, we need to give it some thickness because this part of the shutter is very important, just is thick. So hit 1 for the front view. Just A to select everything, then extrude along the Z axis. Hit the Z key. Also, we need to think this will be fine. So I'm going to add some important parts that are going to create our shutter for the window. Let's try to add them because we need. So let's tap to edit, tap to object mode, Shift A. Then we should add another plane because I'm gonna be using the array modifier. Grab it a little bit along the axis. So I want to hide this part. Tap to edit mode. I'm gonna be scaling to x-axis, as then x-axis. Just scale it a little bit. Make it as a part and don't need to rotate it. I think I should rotate it 90 degrees. Or 90 degrees. Control Z. Rotate it along the Z axis. R Z 90. Now I have got this shape. Just extrude it along the Z axis. This would be fine, I think. Or just grab it much more along the Z axis. Then it to select everything. Just I think I should scale it along the X axis. Make it much small in order to be convenient for building up parts of the shutter for the window. Let's rename it to shutter piece. Sorry for that, just it's the keyboard. Then I'm gonna be trying to add in some detailing for that. So let's see how to add the array modifier for doing and creating these great parts. So hit H key on the keyboard to show up everything what you have modeled will be shown. As you can see here, then this space, how to make it to combine it, integrate it in this part of the shutter. So let's see, and I'm gonna be hitting 3 for numpad 3 for the side view in order to better see what you have created until now. So for this piece of the shutter, hit R to rotate it. I think let's rotate it. So just let's rotate it along the x-axis like this. I think it will be fine like this. So I'm gonna be just integrate it for the shutter. So grab it along the z-axis. Not local, should be global in order to avoid some mistakes and rotation. Grab it along the z-axis, just turn it like this. Then scale it along the x-axis. Just try to drag it. Scale it just a tiny bit, it's bigger. I think it will be fine when scaling it to y-axis. Just should be accurate and with a good size for creating the shutter for the windows. Let's grab it just a bit along the z-axis, then scale it along the y-axis. Grab it. Just rotate along the x-axis. I think it will be so fine until creating this shape. The size is, I think, accurate for this shutter. It's time to add more. It's time to add more the spaces for the shutter of the window. So let me show you also to add all the spaces for the shutter of the window as shown here. We should add the array modifier, then all the spaces just using one, then this modifier is going to duplicate all pieces using some amount of adjusting. And here for fit type, let it fit length also using you can change this value for length in order to make much more. So let's grab it along the y-axis like this. I think it's so good for now. Adding much more values for this length will create a great shape for this shutter of the window. So for factor X, you can change a factor X, also the factor Z. When changing it, you can see just this is going to bring it up and changing the position and the position of these pieces for the shutter. Changing also this can change it along the x-axis. Also for factor Z, then just make it 0, hit enter. Also for, I think for 0.6, 0.6 or 0.7, it's great. And as you can see, our parallel for this shutter as shown here, I think it's great. We don't need much more. And this is very amazing how for creating the shutter. So we need to duplicate to make 4 shutters for our window, then adding some detailing for the wall using just a ray modifier. See you in the next tutorial, modeling and continue creating more detailing for the wall and for the window. Thanks for watching.